So it's true. The house is sold. The project, we're all done. May 14th, the new owners come in. We go out. I'm going to be homeless. Ha! It's really interesting. So anyways, I want to share with you what's in the mechanical room. We're getting a lot of questions for people, you know, what did we actually do in this house in this project? So it's a hybrid system. We have hydronic and we have air, and we'll explain why we did both of those. And it's a multi-purpose system. So in other words, we have swimming pools, we've got hot tubs, we've got snow melt system, we've got radiant systems, we've got fan coils, and we've got domestic water systems. And so we're going to explain to you all of the different components that are in here. The other thing is that this mechanical room was used as a test facility for our panel shop. And so some of the panels that were built in here were back in the 1990s, 1995. And of course, those panels today are continued on in a more modern manufacturing facility after we sold the business. So let's take a look at some of the components. So we have a snow ice melting system here, and we have about 1,400 square feet driveway walkway that does the snow ice melting. This is all the glycol system down over here on this side. There's our circulator there, gauges. Hey, notice the isolation valves, service valves, and the pressure gauges. That's always nice to have. And this is the on the boiler side. So this is the domestic, our glycol side. We've got a three-way diverting valve. So what happens is the control system, which is a Techmark control system. I want to thank Kim Butts from Mechanical Systems Marketing for making that available for us. The thing is working great, by the way, Kim. Thank you. And it, of course, it forecasts or takes weather forecasts and tell the system to wake up and operate. So all of that's done automatically. My friend Pete O'Hirko, just an awesome technician, did all the wiring for us on that. And in fact, he rebuilt basically this whole mechanical room. So he's just been a godsend for us. Energy meters. This energy meter's been on this system a long time, and so you know, people start talking about energy meters being new, but they've been around for a long time. So that's our snow melting system, and then we get into our pool heating. So what the pool heating is two braze plate heat exchangers, and the temperature is controlled with a set point control, and we just have a diverting valve. So what happens is that when the pool temperature drops, this port closes, forces the water to go through the heat exchangers and then back out to the mechanical system. And it's about a 16 by 32 pool equivalent. It's a kidney-shaped pool. I would never use a kidney-shaped pool again. We bought the house, and well, it was built in 1965. Original pool is in there. So we weren't going to move it, obviously, so we used it. And but kidney-shaped pools are kind of awkward to use. I mean, you can't really do. I mean, you can do laps, but not real great laps. So, anyways, but to give you an idea, we're here in Calgary, and we typically start up the pools June type of thing, and really only takes about 24 to 36 hours with these two 5x20 series heat exchangers, and works quite well. Over here is our radiant system. So we're doing radiant walls and radiant floors, and I love the radiant wall stuff. We do walls, floors, and ceilings, but in retrofits and renovations like this project here, so you don't destroying floors and losing ceiling height. You know, we heat the wainscoting, or we heat the big wall in the living room and the dining room. Works great. We do have a radiant floor up in the master bathroom, which is obviously very nice to have. But on that master bathroom, we actually used electric, and the reason why we used electric is that we can use it year-round with having to run the boiler system if we don't need to. Yeah, and it was just easier to do. We couldn't get pipes up there. That was the other difficult thing for us, was for us to run lines up there. Anyway, so that's the radiant system. So there's the snow melt, there's the pool heat, and there's the radiant systems there. Then over here is all of our pool filtration equipment. And again, Pete redid all this for us, so Pete, thank you very much. I also want to point out a really nice feature that Pete did for me, which is this control panel right here. I had Pete put all of the brains into here, and we put in the off, manual on switches. And the reason why I did that is that in the event that I was away, and because I do travel a lot, as many of you know, that when my wife, when she was alive, she could actually turn these things on or off, manually control it until someone came over to do the service work on the piece of equipment. But fortunately for us, and you know, because there's good equipment in here, none of this stuff ever fails. You never had to use it, which is great. So anyways, let's open. Of course, this is the key, right? Everybody has a key for your control panels. In this case, it's a hacksaw blade. Okay, so there it is. I love this. Like, one of the things I like about this is that when Pete built this panel, right, he had to put it put a light in there, so as soon as you open up, the light comes on, which is an awesome feature. There's the set point control for the swimming pool. There's the zone control relays, and then all of the reset controls and set points for the domestic water and the boiler plant. So again, Tekmar staff really love it. Kim and the crew and Tekmar have been just awesome to us over the years of the project as we've sort of worked with the different controls. So thank you very much for that, you guys. And so that's it. Yeah, and when we do our own stuff, when we spec out on our projects, we do spec out the Tekmar, but we also spec out non-electric stuff as well. We're going to come to that in a few minutes. So all right, so far we've talked about the snow melt, the pool heating, the radiant, the brains, the control system for that. So now I want to talk about the air handlers. So I said it was a hybrid, and so we do have the hydronic, but listen, if you want to do air filtration, if you want to do humidification, if you want a good place for secondary heat, fan coils are awesome. All right, so what we have here, this is our first fan coil. We have two of them, actually three of them, one out in the garage. This one is for the east side of the house, and it does two things. It's got a high efficiency filter in it, MERV 13 filter, and then it's also got steam humidification. This is a steam humidifier here, Nortec, very big fan of them. It's done pretty good for us over the years. Every once in a while you got to rebuild them. That's just the way steam humidification works. We don't use evaporative humidifier. We don't specify them on our jobs. Don't use them in my own house. The bacterial risks are too high, so we use steam. Steam is a nice way of keeping those little bugs and nasties from growing. So let me show you what's going on here. We actually have, this is the return line going back. This line right here is the return. That's a return going back. But we also have two control valves. Okay, and I want to point out what they are. So this is a thermostatic control valve, which means there's no power to it. Okay, and that controller is connected to this capillary tube right here, which goes into the ductwork. And so that device maintains constant air temperature into that space. Again, we're using radiant for heating, so we don't need to use it as a primary source of heat. So all it's doing is that when we have exhaust going on in the house, makeup air comes in through the system, and then that heats up the air and distributes warm, fresh air into that space. Now, we get down to minus 40 here in Calgary, which is really cold, and we just simply can't get enough heat safely off of the radiant wall. I shouldn't say safely, but more effectively, because we're using drywall as the radiant surface, and the drywall, you know, like 129, 130 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't want to be running any hotter than that, according to the gypsum folks. So when we do get down to minus 40 and the radiant wall can't quite keep up, then we use this valve here to bypass this control. So what happens, this is regulating discharge air. Second stage says, hey, you know what, first stage radiant wall not quite keeping up, so let's activate this, open this up, let water flow through into the coil, and then that of course then provides high temperature air. High temperature, I say like probably 140 degrees maximum we ever use, out into the space. So first stage radiant, okay, first stage radiant. Second stage is the air. We use it for the fan coil for humidification and then also filtration. So it's a beautiful, beautiful combination of thermal comfort and indoor air quality. Now the second fan coil is for the west side of the house, for the main floor and the upper areas other than the radiant floors that we have up there. And we use the same control system here. And this again is controlling the discharge air temperature for makeup air, and then this is the space control. So what this is actually connected to is not the second stage, but the first stage. So it does the first stage heat for that area. And then again, the balancing valves, okay, on all of the returns. So that's really important. You'll also notice that we have gauges on our ductwork because we want to know what the air is going in and what the air is coming out, because we designed for large delta T's on our air handlers. There's no need to be doing air coils at 20 degree delta T. 40 degrees, 30, 35, 40 degrees is fine. By doubling up that delta T, you're cutting your flow in half. Well, what does that do? Reduces the pipe size, reduces the fitting size, it reduces the insulation size. It makes it easier to do the connections. Like, there's just a whole bunch of benefits to be using large delta T's on these high performance heat terminal units, like a fan coil, for example. The other thing that's really important, that these valves here have a certain characteristic, all right? So we call these particular ones are linear valves, okay? They're not quick opening like you would get on most zone valves. They're a linear valve, and these actuators are slow acting, okay? You never want to marry a fan coil, something that's made out of aluminum and copper and has a fan behind it, with a fast acting valve like a zone valve. Okay, so there's a difference in a zone valve and a control valve. And The reason why is because they respond so fast that you never want to have a fast-acting valve, because then the valve is either going to be open or closed, and it hunts, and that's what creates instability. What you want is something that modulates nice and slow, okay? So anytime you do baseboard, fan coils, fan convectors, okay, linear control valves or equal percentage valves, okay, and slow-acting actuators, preferably 0 to 10, 4 to 20 modulating signal. All right, now, this is our domestic water system. So we have a preheat and a reheat, okay? So all the water coming from the city first goes through this heat exchanger on the domestic side, then goes into the tank at the back. And then what happens is that we have this circulator, and that circulator pulls the water from the tank and then reheats the water. So the water's coming through the preheater and then goes into the tank, and then it's reheated through this exchanger here. And then all of that, of course, is stored in this little 36-gallon storage tank, stainless steel. I don't know what the new tanks are made out of, but this tank has been around for over 20 years and it's still kicking. No problem at all. Probably will last, I don't know, another 10 years? Who knows? I have no idea. All I know is it's done its job, and I'm happy to have it. And so will the new owners, because we've sold the house. So that's the system. So, you know, we got the snow melt, we got the pool heat, we got the radiant, we got all the pool filtration equipment, we've got the brains, we've got our first fan coil for filtration, humidification, second stage heat, and then we have fan coil number 2 for the primary heat. Now, all of that, of course, is driven by this old boiler, okay? So this boiler here, 25-year-old HB Smith cast iron boiler, and I gotta tell you, we could have replaced the boiler, no doubt about it. I like the new technology, some pretty cool stuff. But this boiler, can you pay attention? This boiler in 25 years has only cost me 3 thermocouples and 1 gas valve. That's it. 1 gas valve, 3 thermocouples. We ripped the boiler apart last year just to do some service work on it. I wanted, yeah, for giggles, just to see what it was like. The exchanger looked like it was brand new, right? No pitting, no scarring, nothing. It looked absolutely like it was brand new right out of the factory. Well, okay, after 25 years of water flowing through it, right? But we keep the water conditioned, and so, you know, by making sure you're maintaining the water and you keep good flow across these things, you know, and even the flow can be questionable on God because they're so heavy, the heat exchangers on it, right? So it's not that I'm you know, I like some of the new stuff, but in our project here, given what my experience is with the old stuff, yeah, okay, sure, it's not 97% efficient. I'll give you that, right? But over 20-25 years, 3 thermocouples, 1 gas valve, under what, $250, $300, right? That's all it's cost. Hard to beat that, right, in terms of life cycle costing. So that's the system, you guys. You know, we bought the house a long time ago, 25 years ago, I think, something like that. The house was built in 1965. We've renovated the whole property, inside, outside. You've seen the photos online of the work we did inside. All the mechanical systems here, again, hybrid. Why hybrid? Because we use the hydronic for comfort. No doubt. You can't beat the comfort that you get with a hydronic system, but you need air. You need air for ventilation, you need it for humidification, you need it for decontamination of particulate, odors, all of that kind of stuff. You can't do it without having an air system. So the hybrid, that's the way to go, right? Plus that boiler's also doing all the other toys that we have in the house, the domestic water with the primary, or reheat system, the snow melting, the decks, all of that kind of stuff. It's just been an awesome mechanical room to play with for the last 25 years. As again said, the prototypes from the panels that we built here in 1999, 1995, right? Been around a long time. Anyways, guys, gals, that's the mechanical system for the Bean residence, which we just sold. Club Bean is now gone, and I'm going to be homeless. But I'm looking forward to the next project. I don't know what that's going to be. Wow, some of you know actually what my next project is. It's actually having to do with brain signatures and looking at how the brain responds to different indoor environments. So that's actually my next new project. I've teamed up with a psychologist and a neuroscientist. We've bought some equipment to do some laboratory studies. So maybe I won't be playing around with mechanical stuff anymore as much. I'm going to be playing around with brains. Anyways, awesome. Talk to you later. Bye.